Rambam, the laws from Maimonides' teachings, the 14th and final book, are now in the laws of witnesses. We learned the laws of the courts and how courts need to conduct themselves. Now we learn in the conducting of the courts is how they deal with witnesses. So we're in chapter 2, and in chapter 2, laws of edus, witnesses. What is the difference between chakirais and drishais and bedikais? Three different terms that are used in reference to witnesses and how three different terms of interrogation, if you will. Right? There's three different types of interrogation that is done. So let's see. With regard to chakiras and drishais, if one witness gave specific testimony and a second said, I do not know, the testimony is of no consequence. Remember that for testimony of witnesses needs two people to give a testimony for a particular, this person killed somebody, this person did whatever, so on and so forth. So you need two people, as the Torah tells us, to be considered, right? So now if one gave testimony and the second one, I do not know about the specific testimony, right? So it's of no consequence. With regard to the bedikais, so that's when it comes to chakiras and drishais. So he's going to give the example in a moment what that means. With regard to bedikais, by contrast, even if both of them say don't know, that their testimony is allowed to stand, as we'll see it. If, however, they contradict each other, even with regard to bedikais, their testimony is nullified. So he's going to give the example now. So what does it imply? What does this mean? So if witnesses testify that one person killed another, one of the witnesses specified the 7-year cycle, and others what year in the 7-year cycle it was. Sabbatical year, the year after sabbatical, the year before sabbatical, for example, the year itself, the month, the date, the day of the week. So, for example, Wednesday, the time was 12 noon, and the place of the murder, right? So that is called chakira. Okay, chakiras. Similarly, they asked him in drishais. So chakiras is like simple time, place, and all that kind of regular stuff. That's chakiras, right? So that they have to be both on the same page, the two witnesses. Similarly, if it came to with what he killed, this is drishais now, the other term, with what they killed him, with a sword. If the second witness is outlined his testimony in the same manner, except for the time, he said, I do not know the time of day in which the murder took place, or was unable to specify the time, but said, I don't know what he used to kill him. I do not take notice of the murder weapon. His testimony is nullified. If you don't know when it happened, where it happened, or with what weapon it happened, then that's nullified, right? Why? Because those are chakiras and drishais. If, however, you outline the above factors identically, right? The two witnesses were identical and everything we just mentioned, but they were asked, and this is now what we call chakirais, chakirais, but they were asked whether he was dressed in black or white. Testimony is allowed to stand if they replied, we don't know, We know how to pay attention to factors like this, which are of no consequence. You know, they don't know. That's okay, because that's called a chakira. And it's going deeper to try to understand. But if they don't know, or right, it's not a consequence. Their testimony can still stand if everything else aligned in the drishas, in the right. In the so the drishas and bedikais were aligned, but the chakirais, which is incidental stuff to what you're testifying, right? A person's wearing has got nothing to do, but where it happened, with what he killed with, well, that's not incidental. Time, place, and so on. Halacha number 2. If one of the witnesses said he was wearing black clothes, and the second said that is not so, he was wearing white clothes, their testimony is nullified. Okay. To a degree. They contradict each other, white and black clothes, then their whatever they said about the killing nullify. It is as if one said it took place Wednesday, and the other said it took place Thursday, in which instance the testimony is of no consequence. Or it can be compared to a situation where one said he killed him with a sword, and the other says he killed him with a lance. They need to corroborate the corroboration of the witnesses' testimonies derived from the verse, and the matter is precise. If they contradict each other in any other matter, the testimony is not precise. Okay. Now, that was with 2 witnesses. Excuse me. That was 2 witnesses. Halacha number 3 says the following rules apply if there are many witnesses. If 2 of them testify in a like manner with regard to chakiras and drishas, right? Chakiras is 1 second. Why does it only say the 2 of them? 1 second. Oh, 1 second. One second. So, I mixed up the terms. Bedikas are, yeah, okay. So chakiras is time and place. Drishas is how it happened. And bedikas are the And bedikas is the third one, like the clothing. Okay? Incidentals. Okay, so if there were many witnesses and two of them testified the matter with chakiris, time and place, dirishis, how, with what, the murder, right? The testimony is allowed to stand and the defendant is executed, even though the third witness says, I don't know. Because on the two, it's sufficient. Not considered part of the same group. Interesting. If, however, witnesses contradicts the other two, even with regards, says, I don't know, but if he's contradicting, even with regard with bedikas, which means the clothing, right? They said black and he says white, then the testimony is nullified. Okay. If one of the witnesses says, the murder took place on Wednesday, the 2nd of the month, and another says it took place Wednesday, the 3rd of the month, the testimony is allowed to stand. Although there is a contradiction between them, we assume that one knew that an extra day had been added to the previous month, and one did not know. Until when does this apply? Until the middle of the month? After the middle of the month, by contrast, for example, one said it took place on the 16th of the month, the second said that it took place on the 17th of the month. Their testimony is nullified, even though both of them spoke about the same day of the week. The rationale is in the middle of the month. Everyone knows that Rosh Chodesh was commemorated. So this is talking about in the times when, not on the calendar. We have a calendar now. So this is speaking about when there isn't a calendar. And the new month is by testimony of witnesses that see the new month and come to the court. And the court sanctifies the day as the day of the new month. And so what could be the first or the second or the third of the Wednesday could be because of when they made the new month. And therefore, didn't know there's an extra day added, and therefore that would be the second in the previous. So then therefore it's the second Wednesday, not the third Wednesday. A person might not be aware of that back in the day. Otherwise, in the middle of the month, you'd be aware of it because the message would get around already. That's what he's saying. Okay, I have to stop here. Good to be back and to do Rambam also. All right, folks, have a great day.